Bruin Ink is now syndicated on SeriousWriter.com. See them at SeriousWriter.com for resources, articles, videos, topical classes, and now a podcast, the Bruin Ink Podcast, because we're syndicated on SeriousWriter.com.
Well, welcome back to Interbrews. This is Britt Mooney, and this is number 25 or 26. I can't remember, but I'm here interviewing Alyssa Roat. Did I say your name right?
Yes.
I did. Good. See, there you go. And Alyssa's coming to us. She is currently in Indiana. Is that correct?
That's right.
And Alyssa is part of a publishing company called Mountain Brook Publishing. Did I say that right? I gotta make
Mountain Brook Ink. Yep.
Mountain Brook Ink. I'm sorry. And Alyssa is part of kind of a community with Serious Writer and some of the other people that I know through my agent. And she's the first publisher that we've had on the podcast. And so I'm really excited to kind of get a publisher's perspective on things. We talked to a lot of authors and agents about what they look for and their experiences, but this will be the first perspective from a publisher, and there'll be some great information about some of that. So first of all, how are you doing today, Alyssa?
I'm doing very well. It's a sunny day here in Indiana, so that's always a plus.
That is a plus. Has it been cold there?
Oh, it's been rather cold, yeah.
Yeah? Snow?
Not right now, which is sad. If it's going to be cold, it might as well have some snow.
Right? That's my main problem in Georgia here, is we get really cold and it gets wet, but, the snow is the rare thing. So first, just kind of tell people how Mountain Brook Ink got started. Just kind of tell people where you guys came from and how you got started.
All right. So just to start off, I'm the publicity manager at Mountain Brook Ink. The owner-publisher is Lee Farrell. So Lee was a multi-published author. I think she has about 28 traditionally published books out at this point. And she was doing really well with her fiction, and then her publisher that she had been working with dropped their fiction line. So she started publishing her own fiction, and then realized that there were a lot of authors in a similar situation where publishers had dropped their fiction line and they were left without a home. And that's kind of what led to Mountain Brook Ink. So Lee started Mountain Brook Ink in 2014. It was meant to be more of an inspirational publisher. So a lot of the books are more Christian-based, but we're open to general market fiction as well, as long as it's, somewhat clean. So when Mountain Brook Ink started out, it was a lot more of romance and women's fiction. It's grown. I think we have about 33 authors now. We put out about 12 books each year, and we have categories from women's fiction to cozy mystery to suspense to even speculative fiction.
Yeah.
So we do adult and YA.
Cool. And what kind of, where can people find your books? Just on websites or Amazon, or where can people find your books?
You can find it on our website at mountainbrookink.com, and that's ink, I-N-K. So, and then you'll find them on Goodreads or any of your other major sellers. You can find us on Christian book distributors. So
nice. And so for your job, what's the main part of your job? You said you're in acquisitions and some marketing. So what's your role look like on a day-to-day basis as you work with the company?
So on a day-to-day basis as a publicity manager, I spend most of my time trying to connect audiences with our authors. So I will reach out to reviewers, book bloggers, try to set up blog tours and guest posts for our authors, guest appearances on podcasts, that sort of thing. I'll do some things with ads, and then reaching out to places like Publishers Weekly and Library Journal, newspapers, doing press releases, and just trying to help people be aware of our books from our authors.
And you work a little bit with acquisitions as well, you said, right?
Right. So I read submissions that come in, and there's a team of us that kind of talk about them and decide whether they're right for Mountain Brook or not.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you guys look for? I know you say you're starting your spec fic line, and we'll talk about that. But generally, what are the kind of authors that you guys like to look for? Is it anything? Are you really open, or is there a specific kind?
We're very open to a lot of different genres. We mostly just want to make sure that it's clean. So if it would make your grandmother uncomfortable, it's probably not for us. But we have cozy mystery, suspense, women's fiction, romance, speculative fiction. We have YA fantasy, supernatural thriller. We're pretty open to a lot of things. What we're really looking for is a good story and good writing, and something that at the end of the day kind of has a good message.
Do you guys take unagented, or does someone have to be an agent to submit to you guys?
Unagented and agented are both welcome. We have guidelines on our website for people who want to submit unagented, but it is very helpful if you read those guidelines to submit.
So, Alyssa, you're an author too, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And how much can you tell people about the book that you've got coming out?
I am extremely excited. So the book is called Wraithwood. It is a upper middle grade / young adult contemporary fantasy. So it's magic and wizardry set in our world. Wizards trying to protect people from greater evil, and we don't even know they're there. So that will be releasing November 7th from Intense Publications. And I actually have another book coming out in January that I co-wrote with Hope Bullinger, and it's a YA superhero supervillain romance.
Oh, I saw her post about that. How much can you tell us about that? Give us a one-liner. Give us a little pitch on that.
All right. So Cortex and V meet online on MetaMatch, which is a site for pairing heroes and villains with their nemesis. So they get together to fight over coffee dates and start to match in more ways than animosity.
When I saw the description, I think it was on Hope's Facebook or something. When I saw the description, I was like, okay, that is a great idea. It was very creative. It's in the genre, but it's also creative. So I really thought it was a great idea. So I'm actually looking forward to that. When is it coming out? This month?
No, next January.
Oh, next
January 20th, 2021. And I'm also really excited that it's chat fiction, so it's told entirely through either transcriptions or text messages. So we had a lot of publishers turn it down because it's so weird, but I think it's fun, and we're so excited that Intense decided to take us on. So
yeah, that's very cool. And who's Intense with, or where are they?
Intense is based in Texas. They're a general market publisher that started releasing books fairly recently, but I'm really excited about everything they've been doing. Can't say too much, but they've got some good stuff going.
That's great. I just hadn't heard of them, which is why I was wondering. Well, that is very cool. And so as a publisher, what are some of the things that you see writers do either well, or things that maybe they can kind of improve upon when they start submitting to publishers?
One thing that we do look for, of course, good writing is the most important part, is we do look for if authors are really working to learn about promoting their book, because you're your book's biggest advocate. You know it best, and you have the connections who know you and are going to want to read it the most. So we're looking for someone who has a newsletter and who has somewhat of an idea of who they want to talk to about their books. Social media presence is good. If you have a following or an audience, at least as long as you're working on it, it doesn't have to be huge, but we want to see that it's an author who's going to partner with us to help your book do the best that it possibly can.
Yeah. Now, just from your perspective, would you say it's helpful for any author to kind of start working on some of that platform, quote unquote, stuff that people talk about?
I'd say absolutely. No matter where you are in your publishing journey, it's very helpful to build an audience, build relationships with people. It's not as much about the numbers as it is about actually finding your people, finding who wants to read your books, who's interested in what you have to say, or who needs to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, and that's something that, Kyle, and that's a big thing for him and Serious Writer. And the more I talk with authors, it can be kind of a sore subject, right? Because I'm talking with writers and they're like, well, I don't have a book published and I don't have this. So why am I building anything? And I continually tell them, you got to build something. All the marketing that leads up to a book does more than after you have the book, right? I mean, it's all interconnected. It's all about the person. It's all about the character. We want to know our authors, right? We want to know what they're thinking and all that kind of stuff. So, I just think it's really interesting, especially in our kind of online world that we've developed, that people are still kind of iffy about, that sort of platform building,
That's right. And I think about 80% of what I do to promote a book happens before it even comes out. So it is helpful to have that before the book releases.
Yeah. Now, so what kind of led up to you guys starting the spec fic line that you're going to kind of get moving here?
So I know Merely has been thinking about it and wanting to do it for a while. And then back in October, I was looking over some of the speculative fiction titles that we currently have, and they're great, and I've read them and really enjoyed them. I love speculative fiction. That's my favorite. And I was just kind of noticing how people know that we have speculative fiction because we're more known for the mysteries and the women's fiction and that sort of thing. And so Merely and I and a couple others got to talking and thought, why don't we start a specific speculative fiction line that's dedicated to Christian and clean speculative fiction? So it kind of took off from there. We started thinking about what we want our mission to be. We came up with a contest idea to kind of promote the line and also help speculative fiction authors, because it can be very difficult, I think, for Christian and clean speculative fiction authors to find a place in the market. But I think there are a lot of readers out there who would love to be connected with them.
No, I think you're right. And as bookstores are kind of closing, not kind of, they are, it's becoming harder to find that sort of stuff. It's harder to know where to look and how to look. So what's the name of the new line?
The name of the new line is Mountain Brook FIRE.
Ooh.
So we've got Mountain Brook Ink and Mountain Brook FIRE, and our website is live now, so it's fire.mountainbrookink.com. And we have a really cool logo, I think, that we had designed. I loved it, and yeah. I'm just really excited.
Yeah. Now talk about the contest. I know about the contest, and I think I'm still one of the judges, aren't I?
Well, I hope so.
So I'm excited about the contest, and so tell people about the contest and what it is and when it starts and kind of how that's going to work.
Right. So one of the things that we've noticed is it can be hard to have your speculative fiction read and noticed and get feedback, and we wanted to start something that would be a yearly contest and award. So we're calling it the FIRE Award, and there will be 3 FIRE Award winners in the genre of fantasy, sci-fi, and then other speculative fiction. So there will be 3 award winners, and we want people to be able to, say, this book is a FIRE Award winner, and people be able to say, yes, that's a book I want to read. So we have some great judges that are from all different areas of the industry, from agents to editors to publicists like myself. And so the contest opens on February 1st to submissions, and we'll be taking it submissions in the 3 categories of fantasy, speculative fiction, or sci-fi, and other speculative fiction. And we have prizes of content edits of your manuscript. In each stage, we have, different levels of feedback and critique that you'll get on the manuscript. So no matter whether you're our grand prize winner, to whom we'll offer a contract, or you get to the semifinals or the finals, you can be sure that you'll at least get some input and insight on your manuscript, which is something you don't always get when you are submitting to places. A lot of times it's just a blanket rejection and you have no idea why.
Yeah. Very interesting. And so the grand prize, you're saying, is a book contract. So you're saying the grand prize is you guys are going to start working with that author?
That's right.
Yeah.
So we'll have the 3 Fire Award winners, and one of them we'll want to offer a contract for our new line.
Yeah, you'll have a best in show, right? Kind of like,
right.
You have like the dogs that all win in their category, and then you'll have the best in show, right? I'm sorry, you ever see that movie, Best in Show?
I don't think I saw the movie, but I've watched some.
You watched some dog shows. Watch the movie if you like the dog shows. You got to watch the movie. Well, that's pretty cool. So, what are some of the recent books that you guys have published that you guys are excited about, that you think really kind of exemplify what you guys are looking for and doing with Mountain Brook?
Right. So recently, we haven't extremely recently put any speculative fiction. Heather L.L. Fitzgerald has some fantastic YA fantasy books. We have Heather Norman Kelsey Norman, my apologies, has 2 supernatural romance books that very different. But I loved them. It's very hard to categorize them, but I'm glad that we took them on because they are very good. We have Richard Spillman with his supernatural thrillers, imagining if Lazarus, after being raised from the dead, was still alive and fighting evil forces with other people who had been miraculously raised from the dead. And we have Anna Zog with her sci-fi novels, and we're very excited soon. I think it is in April, we'll be releasing a book from Brian Davis, Let the Ghosts Speak. So I'm very excited about sharing more about that later with our cover reveal tour and all that sort of thing. But I was very excited when Brian reached out to us because I've always been a big fan of his books, and I told Mirley, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's one of my favorite authors. We've got to work with him.
Yeah,
so.
And he's been on the podcast and had some great advice for authors. He's been at it a while. I'm not saying he's old. I'm just saying he's been at it a long time. So he had some great advice. When you're looking at the YA, like supernatural kind of romance, that's a newer genre, I think, but it's something that's really been growing, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So what are some ways that people can kind of get in touch with you? Just the website, or I know you kind of shared about that, and we'll give the link again, but are there other ways that people can kind of get in contact with you?
Definitely. So the websites are great ways to get in contact with us, and then we also have the emails on there. For the contest, we have a specific email that's contest@mountainbrookink.com, and that's, for submitting your work and that sort of thing. But we do have tabs on the website with the specific emails for different things.
Okay. So on the website, there's tabs for different people to contact and the contest. Is that all on the website now already?
Yes. So the contest is on fire.mountainbrookinc.com. So we have our submission guidelines there for books, and then we also have the contest because we opened to submissions for Mountain Brook FIRE publicly on January 1st.
Now, have you guys done much with nonfiction, or is it mostly just fiction line?
We don't do nonfiction. It's just fiction. Yeah.
Very cool. Have you done any like historical fiction? I'm trying to remember. I don't think you said that. Have you done any like historical fiction kind of stuff? Lazarus is a little bit like that, I would assume.
Right. Yeah, we do have quite a bit of historical fiction. The Plum Blooms in Winter by Linda Thompson was recently a Christie Award finalist, and that's set in World War II era in the Pacific frontier. So I think it's very fascinating, and we have a lot of the Western or that sort of time period as well.
Yeah. You have any Amish books?
I don't think so.
You don't have Amish books? Come on.
Yeah.
Not even like an Amish vampire one? I mean, have you?
Oh, man. That's on my to-read list. Amish Vampires in Space.
It is. We've had him on the podcast as well, Carrie Neitz. And it's very good, actually. I've read it. It's actually pretty fun. So, you talked about clean, like stuff that would make your grandmother blush. What about, does that include violence, or like what are some of the elements when you say like your grandmother blush?
Well, with speculative fiction, you're going to assume that there's going to probably be a little bit of action, violence, that sort of thing. Yeah. Or Western, there's going to be a shootout or something. It's no fun if there isn't. But we're more thinking if there's something in there that's more mature or raw, it should be in there for a reason. Mm-hmm. So we don't do swearing, we don't do like sex scenes, but a lot of the authors get into some very deep things of,
sure.
Even like sexual trafficking or that sort of thing. So
yeah.
It doesn't have to be light and fluffy. We just want to make sure that it's wholesome and for a reason.
Hey, man, I'm with you. There's so often that, you're watching a movie or there's a book and there's really no reason for that stuff to be in there. Like you're saying, you're like, what? That didn't really have a point. Like, it's not even serving the story. Like you're saying, it's not even serving, moving the plot forward kind of thing. Well, very cool. Well, Alyssa, this has been awesome.
It's been great talking with you.
I've appreciated it, and good job being our first publisher on the show here, and people can find you guys at mountainbrookinc.com and then fire.mountainbrookinc.com, right?
That's right.
And then they'll have stuff on there for the contest, and we will have links on our website, and it'll be on the Serious Writer blog page. There'll be links and stuff for people so they can enter the contest.
Fantastic. Yeah, we'd love to see submissions. I'm excited to see what comes in of all the different genres and ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I've been looking forward to the judging part as well. It's really fun to give feedback and just to see how creative people are and encourage them. That's been really fun. So, all right. Well, we will talk soon. All right, Alyssa?
That sounds good.
You have a good day.
You too.